So we have completed our text, and we have completely understood the concept. Is there any question regarding that text? Like, I don't understand this part, or I don't understand this question. Is there anything? No. Okay. No. So now we will read about the period and the features of that period. What happened, why that happened, what was different from the previous and later periods, and what were the prominent figures, who were the prominent figures of that particular period, 17th and 18th century England specifically. So at first we will try to understand the features and important writers and writing styles of 17th century, then we will go for 18th century, and then we will compare and make a conclusion. Okay. So this is 17th century literature. Prominent writers is William Shakespeare. Shakespeare was at the early of 17th century. Okay. And then John Milton, who wrote Paradise Lost and Paradise Brigand, two of his masterpieces. And then comes John Dryden and John Donne, Daniel Defoe. Okay, these are the prominent figures. So about William Shakespeare, we already know about him. What do you know about William Shakespeare? How do you know him?
He's a British poet.
Because of sonnet 18. Sonnet 18, exactly. This is what I was expecting. We started literature with sonnet 18, and this is how we know him. Okay, he wrote numerous plays including Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and his poetic style including blank verse was highly influential. Okay, we know that if we are writing a, what should I say, poem, that we have to maintain the rhyme schemes. But he said that we don't have to always maintain the rhyme scheme. Poetry should be a spontaneous overflow of my thoughts. Okay, I can skip that. Okay. এটাকে বাংলায় বলে গদ্য ছন্দ। Then comes Milton. Milton is known for his epic poem Paradise Lost, a retelling of the biblical story of the fall of the man, fall of the devils. Okay. He also wrote extensively on political and religious subjects, reflecting the turbulent times of the English Civil War. Okay. And then John Dryden. Dryden excelled in poetry, drama, and prose. He is considered a key figure in the Restoration period. And then comes John Donne. You have read poetry of John Donne in metaphysical poetry, I guess. Okay. Donne is a significant figure in the metaphysical poetry tradition, known for his complex and intellectual verses. And then comes Daniel Defoe. We have read a text about Daniel Defoe already. What was the text? Okay. Defoe is best known for his novel Robinson Crusoe, which is considered a foundational work of English novel. Okay. So this is one of the foundational work of English novel. How can, this was the period when English novel writing flourished. This was a new concept. Like there was a time when people used to write in poetic forms, okay, epics, ballads, and then came different stuffs, okay, and people started to write in narrative, long narrative, with more and more details. If you look at recent times novels, you will see that it's not that much big, okay, but the novels from that time, it includes every single details. Okay, it feels like nothing is missing, everything is being described. You can look at this Defoe's writing that we have already gone through. So there is everything. It's a huge narrative composition. Okay, so and then comes the new genres which actually evolved in this 17th century. These were new. Okay, in the field of literature. But first is metaphysical poetry. You have already read that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then comes drama. The 17th century saw a flourishing of drama. Drama was there, but new forms of drama a bloom in drama writing. Those were in 17th century, including tragedies and comedies with prominent playwrights like John Dryden writing plays and poems. And then comes prose. The novel began to take shape, and with early prose writers exploring the theme of social commentary and character development. What is the meaning of social commentary? Tell me. I said that here started that it will be like social commentary. Like it will be a document of everyday's life. Okay, it will be like a document of everyday's life. Just think about Robinson Crusoe. Okay, nothing is missing. Okay, and then comes Restoration Age. This period marked by the return of monarchy saw a focus on heroic poetry, satire. So an example of satire can be Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. Okay, and philosophical essays. Can you give me an example for that philosophical essay? Of marriage and single life. What? Bacon's essays. Okay. Influenced by figures like John Dryden and John Milton. And then philosophical essays, Bacon's essays exemplified the rise of philosophical prose. Prose in this era exploring themes of society and human understanding. Okay, then comes key features. This is on prose. ঠিক আছে আপনারা কি স্টিকার লাগাইছেন Okay, so we will read about key features on prose and on poetry. Okay, at first is prose, clarity and directness. The 17th century saw a shift towards prose styles that emphasized clarity, directness, and economy of expression, reflecting an interest in scientific detail and observation. Think about Crusoe. Whatever he was doing, he was trying to do it scientifically, logically, okay, practically. Okay, and the language was quite direct. It was not like, think about the, I taught you Elizabethan dramas, and think about the romantic poetry now. Think about Elizabethan dramas. The language is really tough, right? But they wanted to write it clear. The style was simple so that common people can read it. Then comes meditative style. There was some writing style like more use of metaphors and analogies, and some clauses and phrases were being used more and more. And the loss of connectivities and asymmetric sentences, like you don't have to follow the same sentence structure for every writing. Okay, you don't have to use the proper style. Okay, just write something that is understandable. That was the style. Okay, that is a sign of independence in writing. Okay, freedom of writing. Okay, you can skip next one. And then on poetry, it was metaphysical poetry was. What is the meaning of metaphysical poetry? You took a course on that.
Something is
The thinking about the
beyond the
world.
Beyond logic.
Beyond logic.
scientific logic.
Beyond what? Beyond scientific logic. Okay. The style was characterized by complex conceit. Okay. Far-fetched similes and metaphors, intellectual exploration, and often a blend of passion and reason. Okay. Then comes neoclassicism. This movement emphasized order, reason, and imitation of classical modes, leading to development of a more reasoned and defined style. You will search for classic style, and then you will come for neoclassical style. You will understand the difference. Heroic couplets. What is heroic couplets? What is heroic couplets? Or I mean, pairs of rhymic lines in iambic pentameter influenced by Dryden became a popular form. So it was 2 lines at the end of the poem, which will be in iambic pentameter, and it will be a bit like the summary of the poem. Okay. And then comes epic poetry, becomes Paradise Lost, and influence of scientific revolution. Like people were writing something that will sound like logical. Okay. Wit and satire. sound logic like Robinson Crusoe and his survival. It doesn't sound like impossible or imaginary thing. It sounds like yeah, it's possible with all the uses of logics and practical stuffs. Okay, wit and satire. The use of wit, irony, and satire became increasingly common in both poetry and prose, reflecting the intellectual and social firmament of that time. Okay, so others was they were using some religious themes, which is used in Robinson Crusoe also, the spread of Christianity, and then emergence of the novel. This is the first time people started to write novels in 17th century. While the novel was still in its early stages, works like The Pilgrim's Progress demonstrated the potential of this new literary form. There some new literary form of novels were emerging, which gave some hope of new genre. Okay? Inspired the writers to write a novel. 18th century literature. Important figures are Jonathan Swift, satirist, Irish satirist, and then comes John Austen, Samuel Johnson. Samuel Johnson is the person. Do you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Know him? Who is he?
He's a pretty lexicographer.
Lexicographer means
Dictionary
dictionary writers. He's the first person who wrote dictionary, and there were 40,000 entries, 40,000 word meanings. Yes, critics also. And then Alexander Pope, he was famous for writing the Rape of the Law. Okay. And then Samuel Richardson. Richardson's famous writings were Pamela. Then I forgot the other names. He had some really famous novels in English literature. Okay, literary genres, the novel, subjournalism of novel. So first one is picaresque novel. What is the meaning of that?
Focus on adventure.
Don't give me blank faces. I explained that in details the last class. Yes. Tell me.
The novel that focuses on the adventure.
Who survives their
journey.
by their
Picaro means people who survive with their wits. From that, picaresque has come. It will be episodic. It will be practical, social commentary type. It will be on adventure. Okay. So this was a kind of novel, and then comes epistolary novel. Epistolary novel means বাংলায় বলে পত্রোপন্যাস. ঠিক আছে? The whole story is written through letters. Okay, it's through letters. And then comes Gothic, characterized by suspense. What is Gothic?
that has supernatural elements.
Like with ghost, with some
Supernatural powers.
Yes, with some, terrific scenes. Okay. And then comes historic, novels set in historic periods. এটাকে বাংলায় বলে ইতিহাস আশ্রিত উপন্যাস। ইতিহাসের একটা ইভেন্ট নিয়ে লেখা হয়। ঠিক আছে? It doesn't mean যে সেম টু সেম স্টোরি হতে হবে, যেটা লিখছে সেটা হয়েছিল, ব্যাপারটা এরকম না। But it was more or less like based on a historic event. Okay. And then other notable genres, first one is satire, and then travel narratives, which is quite similar to picaresque. And then comes memoir fiction, personal accounts of experience and reflection, like with personal experiences. And then autobiography. We know autobiography now, self-written. Yes. But in 18th century, it actually flourished for the first time. And also criminal narratives, stories focused on crime and criminal behavior. Okay, the Restoration and Augustan age, literally these two literary era covers the 17th and 18th century. Okay, so Restoration period started from 1660 to 70. Okay, marks the restoration of the monarchy after the English Civil War, and Augustan age roughly 1700 to 1750. Is characterized by neoclassical ideas and emphasis on reason or order, drawing inspiration from Roman writers of the time of Emperor Augustus. So they took inspiration to write anything, to bring new genres, and the inspiration was what? Roman literature. Okay. Roman Empire. Restoration literature context. What was the context? Themes and style. Let's go to the themes and styles. Literature of this period often reflects a sense of relief after years of political and social upheaval. It can be characterized by wit, satire, and focus on social commentary. It matches with the characteristics of 17th century literature, right? Because this period covers the 17th century. Okay? And then key figures, John Bryden, specifically. Okay. Then comes Augustan age literature. Neoclassical influence was there. And Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift was the key figures of this period. An example was Rape of the Lock, Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, and all this. Okay, key themes of 17th and 18th century literature. As I said that we will read the two separately, that was not that much important. But if you read that all together, then that's important. Okay, because our course name is 17th and 18th century literature. You can mix it up and make some common themes. So these are the key themes of this kind of this time's writing. Love and relationship. Then comes religion and faith, politics and society, nature and the enlightenment. I guess all of them are here in this book, right? Okay. Do I have to explain them? I don't think so. You know the themes, right? Yes. Okay. Social issues, the individual, the rise of the novel, the power of imagination, and think about. Think about Robinson Crusoe. Such a realistic story. Sounds like it really happened. Okay, and think about the imagination power of the writer who actually wrote it, who continued it, and wrote all of this. Okay, out of nowhere. You just have to make it up. Oh, that's all? That's all. So you guys were tired, right? Okay, so do you have any question from like what will be the
Midterm question.
yeah?
Yes.
What will be the question?
No.
Pattern. So there will be 4 questions for broad question.
Ma'am, আমি বলতে পারবো কি বলবেন?
We don't understand how we get another series.
So you are not looking for that.
We are looking for something.
That format. I mean, this is the format. If you want to there is nothing like suggestion in this word, you know.
We are looking for something else.
Yeah, clearly. Anyways, I already told you about the questions in last class. Okay. And every single question, regular weekend, and also set B. Okay. All of them will have a question from this slide. Okay, from this type, like write down the features of 17th century and how this matches this text. Okay, or write down the features or themes or major events of 18th century and how that matches this book. Okay, there will be a question like that. This is the basic of your course. Okay, there will always be a question like that. If you want, you can answer, or if you find that I cannot write well, it's a bit confusing, then just skip it. Okay. When is your yeah, all of them. Okay, the topics. I mean, from the topics of this slide. And when is this exam happening? Your 17th century literature.
After the Eid.
After
Eid.
What's the date? 17. So almost 1 month. So maybe you will need a class. Okay, or online class. If you need that, you have to reach me. I will not reach you. I will not be like, tell me let's have class. Okay. So if you want online class, you have to text me. You have to give me a schedule. You have to talk to your friends that what is our best time for the class.
It's mass needed because we want to survive like Robinson Crusoe.
Survive what?
Survive like promise to pursue.
Survive
For the
what?
exam.
Survive the exam.
Exam presentation.